Learn English through story. The Lantern Keeper's Lesson. In a quiet town nestled along the edge of a dense forest, there lived an old man named Ibrahim. He was known as the Lantern Keeper because every night, without fail, he would light a series of lanterns along the path that wound through the forest. The lanterns were not just for decoration, they served as a guide for travelers, ensuring they didn't lose their way in the dark and treacherous woods. Ibrahim had been the lantern keeper for as long as anyone could remember. He lived a simple life in a small cottage at the forest's edge, spending his days caring for the lanterns and his nights walking the path to ensure every light was burning brightly. His dedication was so complete that even in the harshest of weather, he would make his rounds, ensuring that the path remained illuminated. One evening, as Ibrahim was preparing his lanterns, a young man named Amir approached him. Amir was a newcomer to the town, having recently moved from the city in search of peace and a slower pace of life. He had heard stories about the Lantern Keeper and was curious about the old man's devotion to such a seemingly mundane task. "Why do you do this every night?" Amir asked, watching as Ibrahim carefully filled each lantern with oil. "Surely, there are nights when no one travels the path. Wouldn't it be easier to skip a night or two?" Ibrahim smiled at the young man, his withered face full of warmth and wisdom. "It would indeed be easier, but the lanterns are not just for those who travel the path, they are also for those who might, and for those who need to know that there is always a light to guide them, even if they do not see it." Amir frowned, puzzled. "But how can a light that no one sees be of any help?" The old man paused, placing the glass cover on a freshly lit lantern. "Let me tell you a story," he said, his voice soft yet filled with authority. "Many years ago, when I was a young man like you, I lived in a city far from here. I was ambitious, always chasing after success, wealth, and recognition. My days were filled with noise, and my nights were restless. I was always busy, always moving, always striving for something just out of reach. I thought that if I could just achieve more, acquire more, I would find the peace and happiness I longed for." Ibrahim's eyes grew distant as he recalled his past. "One day, I met an old man who lived in a small house at the edge of the city. He was quiet, content, and always seemed at peace, despite having little in the way of material wealth. Curious, I asked him how he could be so content with so little. He told me that true peace and happiness do not come from what we have, but from what we give. He said that the greatest gift we can offer the world is to be a light for others, even when we cannot see who we are helping. It is in the act of giving, without expectation, that we find our true purpose." Amir listened intently, the old man's words resonating with something deep inside him. Ibrahim continued, "At first, I didn't understand, but over time, I began to see the wisdom in his words. I left the city, searching for a place where I could be that light. I found this town and took up the role of lantern keeper, a simple task that allows me to give something to others without needing anything in return." Amir nodded slowly, beginning to grasp the old man's meaning. "But does anyone ever thank you? Do they even know what you do?" Ibrahim chuckled softly. "No, most people don't know who lights the lanterns, and that's as it should be. I don't do this for recognition or thanks. I do it because it needs to be done, because there is always someone who might need that light, whether I ever see them or not." "But doesn't it get lonely?" Amir asked, concerned. "Doing all of this by yourself?" "Sometimes," Ibrahim admitted, But loneliness is a small price to pay for the peace I've found. Knowing that I am helping others, even in a small way, fills my heart with a sense of purpose that no amount of wealth or success ever could." Amir was silent for a moment, reflecting on the old man's words. He had come to the town seeking peace, but he had been searching in the wrong places, looking for something external to fill the void within him. Now, he realized that true peace comes from within, from giving without expectation, from being a light in the darkness. "Ibrahim," Amir said finally, "would you teach me how to light the lanterns? I think I'd like to help." The old man smiled, his eyes twinkling with approval. "Of course, Amir. There is always room for more light in the world." From that night on, Amir joined Ibrahim in his nightly rounds. As they lit the lanterns together, Amir began to feel a deep sense of fulfillment, a quiet joy that he had never known before. He understood now that the path to peace and happiness wasn't found in the pursuit of wealth or recognition, but in the simple act of serving others, of being a light in the darkness, even when no one is watching. Months passed, and Amir found that the restlessness that had driven him from the city had faded. In its place was a calm contentment, a deep connection to the town and its people. Even if they didn't know his name, he realized that in lighting the lanterns, he was not just illuminating the path through the forest, but also his own path to inner peace. One evening, as they finished their rounds, Amir turned to Ibrahim and asked, "Do you think we'll ever know how many people we've helped by lighting these lanterns?" Ibrahim looked up at the stars, his face serene. "Perhaps we will, perhaps we won't, but that's not important. What matters is that we've done our part." The light we give is not diminished because it goes unseen. It is the act of giving that brightens the world, not the acknowledgement of it. Amir smiled, feeling the truth of the old man's words deep in his soul. The lanterns, once just a series of lights to him, had become symbols of something far greater, a reminder that in a world often filled with darkness, it is the quiet, consistent acts of kindness and service that make all the difference. And so, Amir and Ibrahim continued their work, night after night, lighting the path not just for travelers through the forest, but for themselves, and for anyone who might be wandering through the darkness of life, searching for a light to guide them home. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you enjoyed, then please like and share this video, and don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.